What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one I want to talk about what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. Break down what the trends are telling us so far and give you guys kind of like an overview of what's happening for the upcoming trading week. Before I begin down all this information, before I make a very quick update video, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, when looking at the market, we had a very crazy day today. We saw the market push very nicely to new all-time highs for many different ETFs out there. And then after that, I made a video about how we were at some tight resistance levels on SPY and the QQQ and to watch and see if we get a rejection or not. And then what happened was we got a big rejection, and SPY started to sink very low. Same thing happened to the QQQ. The Nasdaq, the other indices were all doing the same thing, leading the ETFs down. Nasdaq was actually down 1% today. Nvda tumbled, which played a big role in causing that. And this was the worst week since October. The Dow had the worst week since October. We had one of the worst weeks for the Nasdaq as well. Crazy stuff right over here. So what's happening thus far? What's going on with the market over here? S&P 500 lost about 0.65%, while the Nasdaq slipped 1.16% into negative territory from its all-time high. The three major indices all ended up finishing in a very choppy week lower, and they continue to slow down. So very interesting stuff. As a result of articles like this, the market is not as greedy as before. We were just at extreme greed for the past month, 1 month ago, and also a week ago. And now we're at just greed. The market's just at greed right now. Things are shifting. The market's less greedy than before. And this shift in the market could develop into something much bigger, considering the fact that the VIX is now well above its 50 daily moving average, which is signaling a big change in its overall trend. If you look at the VIX, let me pull up the VIX chart real quick. I wanted to double check something on it. We're approaching the 15 area, and there is potential for this to go even higher as an uptrend could be beginning. When we look at the daily time frame, we're just barely crossing over on the daily, but we have to try to break 15.38 for this to become a lot more serious. So we're still going to be waiting for that. But also, when it comes to the week, we have some interesting stuff coming out. For Monday, which is going to be March 11th, we just have some consumer inflationary expectations data, very minor data. For Tuesday, we have CPI coming out. That's going to be very important. Wednesday is more minor data as we just have industrial production and things like that. Nothing too crazy. For Thursday, we have initial jobless claims and then the PPI report coming out, which is quite important. And Friday is when we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiments data and more information about exports and imports. But that's pretty much it. The main days are Tuesday and Thursday when we have the PPI and CPI coming out, and we'll see how things go. For earnings, here are the earnings for the week. You can actually take a screenshot of this if you guys want, or find this on Earnings Whispers. But basically, Ballard has earnings on Monday, not to mention Oracle after the market closes. Then after that, we have ADM, Kohl's, and a couple of other retail ones for the next couple of days. And then after that, we have Dollar General before the market opens on Thursday, not to mention Adobe after the market closes. So I'll be watching to see what this causes for us moving forward. Anyways, on the charts, let's talk about a couple of things. SPY right here, and I'm going to be very brief with this. We're looking bearish right now because the daily time frame is showing a big rejection and a very bearish looking daily candlestick as volume is going up. So we had high volume selling. Now the 5 EMAs 511.28. If we lose this, a bigger drop will definitely be coming. In my opinion, this thing could rebound a little bit, but I do see this eventually selling off. I'm going to be eyeing, this gap over here. This gap down here at 497. We could see some sellers stepping in, and the time has likely finally come. In terms of seasonality, March is typically a time of the year when we see moves like this, so it's no surprise whatsoever. There is going to be a risk of more downside. I'll give you guys more information about this in my video for tomorrow, but for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. Tesla's in a very similar place. So Tesla is heavily dictated by two things. Number one, the overall markets. Number two, the news. And a lot of the news that's come out for Tesla has been very negative. Like we first had that crazy sell-off with the Chinese news that came out about their sales dropping quite a bit. Then we had more bad news about the fire that took place in Germany. Then we got price cuts from major investors. It made attempts to bounce yesterday and also today. Then it just got a big rejection again with the markets. So this chart has been downtrending. This chart is bearish for the time being, and this has more to do with, I would say, the current state of how things are looking, and additionally, it has to do with what's been happening on the news as we're getting so much negative news. So this is what SPY is looking like. There is more potential downside. Once again, I'll leave it at this. It could pop and drop and eventually drop to lower levels, and then for Tesla, going back to it, it's the same thing essentially. Tesla does have a risk of more downside, looking kind of weak right now. It was trying to get an inverse head and shoulders and it failed, and we got a big drop towards 175. We could easily lose this and start sinking lower. So just be careful, guys. Looking pretty weak for now. What else is looking kind of weak is the triple Q. I'm going to actually pull up the daily chart on the triple Q. The QQQ is looking a little bit weaker, especially on the daily time frame. Could we rebound a little bit? Sure, we could. We could retest 440, even 442, but then I do see us coming down eventually to 436. That's where our daily 20 EMA is. And if we lose that, there's a big gap to fill, which I think is still a very, very pragmatic possibility. This was a classic rejection. So we had this uptrend on the QQQ, right? Uptrend, uptrend. And then we got a rejection. We broke below it, push back up to retest it, and then we rejected. That's a sign that it's going to sell off more. So could pop a little bit again and eventually make its way down to 436, and then we'll see what happens after that. If it hits 434, there's a big gap below to fill, which we could end up filling. For another ticker, we have Nvda. Nvda is a big one. A lot of people are watching right now. Not looking so great. We got a very, very big rejection today. I'm going to close these levels just to show you. So it was trying to get closer to 1,000. It reached 974. It was trying, and then we got a big rejection from there. Huge red bar. This thing was down pretty massively. And if we lose this support, so we're at support at 872. If we lose that area, I think there's 865. And if that fails us, there's a big risk of us coming all the way down, not just to fill our gap in the 850s, but continue to sink down towards 844. So there is a risk of Nvidia coming down lower. And overall, the chart is showing some weakness. You guys can see this right here. It's still sinking even in the after hours. I think we're going to fill this gap very soon, so I do anticipate more downside for Nvidia. But what is kind of ironic is the fact that Apple, of all things, is still holding up quite well. Apple, it's still above 170. It's been trying to rebound a bit, but just be careful. Can we hold above 170? We'll be in an okay place if we do. If we fail to hold 170, we're going to be coming back down. So just be a little careful on Apple. It's heavily dictated by the news. Now, despite it trying to bounce, when you zoom out of Apple, there's a downtrend. Rejection, 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 rejection. It's still downtrending. There's no sign of a true bounce right now. We have to break the yellow trend line for us to get that big break. We haven't broken this yet. So we're still on a strong downtrend. There's no sign of this thing truly breaking out right now. So the best thing I could do is just be honest and be very, very open minded about all of this. All right. So that is it, at least for the main five I typically go over. I'm just going to go over a few more. I'll be going over everything, guys, on Sunday. On my Sunday update video, I'll be going over everything you need to know. But for now, Super Micro is looking a little bit weak, a little rejection right here. Going to be watching 1100. If we lose that, we do have potential to drop all the way down to 980 and eventually fill this gap to lower levels. Palantir, this is turning a little bearish looking. If we lose 25.6, more downside is imminent. Russell 2000, same thing. If we lose 205, we could be on our way to 202. Microsoft looking a little bit weak on the daily. If we continue to sell off, we'll be looking for a test of 402 all over again, looking a little bit weak right now. Let's see what else is there. We have Coinbase. Coinbase is on a very, very nice uptrend, but there's a big rejection off 270. So we'll see if we could hold above 250. If we lose it, there's a risk of 230, basically 245, then 240. And if that fails us, then there's 237 coming. I'd still say that this is on a nice uptrend. There's no sign of a true big rejection just yet. It did reject a bit, but it's not really the same as the market quite yet. Google's also outperforming thanks to bullish news. We'll have to see how well it holds above 135. Now for Amazon, a little bearish looking. If we might consolidate for a bit, but I do see a test of 172 coming. And for Meta, this thing is at 505, but be careful because of the fact that we have supported 501. If we lose that, a bigger drop could be coming all the way down to about 490. So we'll see how it goes. But with that being said, guys, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate every single one of you. I'll talk a lot more about all these different charts in my video for Sunday. Tomorrow I'll be releasing more videos about market psychology. I'm going to answer some more questions about whether or not this is the start of a big crash. or if this is not a crash, if it's just something very healthy. So I'm going to talk more about that tomorrow. But for now, it's a Friday. I just want to keep the video very chill and simple. So I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you for listening, and peace out.